So thank you for joining us today for this virtual panel on reconstructing homes in Morocco that were affected by the devastating earthquake that happened a few months ago. Today, I'm going to be joined by two panelists, Kit Miyamoto, the CEO of Miyamoto International, a global engineering company, and Daniel Font, the CEO and founder of Social Infra Ventures, a local developer operating in Morocco. These two panelists are going to show a very different approach to rehousing the affected population of the earthquake. Kit is going to present an approach showing how to rebuild the original towns in a vernacular fashion that preserves the cultural heritage and strengthens the towns against disasters. And Daniel will show us how they are implementing creative methods to house the population that may not return to their traditional habitats, and how to provide them with affordable, green, and resilient housing in secondary cities in Morocco. So please join me in welcoming our two panelists. Thank you. Okay, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Olivia. So at the next maybe 10 minutes, I'm going to talk about the this housing recovery. It's going to Morocco earthquake. Now, I just actually returned from there yesterday, and our team is still on the field. Just a little bit about us. We're a global engineering and humanitarian organization located in 5 different continents and 30 different offices, including Marrakesh, Morocco. Since 1970s, we actively working on many different disasters, from war conflicts to earthquakes to hurricanes and flood, and Morocco is the latest one. So earthquake happened in 2023, September 8th. It's 11 p.m. in the middle of the night, and it's a 6.8 magnitude, which is considered to be the pretty sizable event. It's equivalent to what LA experienced in 1994, actually. And 18-kilometer deep is also considered at the kind of shallow middle. It's fairly shallow earthquake. And epicenter is right in the high Atlas Mountains. And it's about at the 40 kilometers from Marrakesh itself. So the damage to Marrakesh is somewhat limited besides the old town. A certain damage was there. But the most of the damage is concentrated in the mountains, as you can see at the red area. And unfortunately, about 3,000 people died from this earthquake. So those are location of villages which have been damaged. And you can see that quite a bit of it. It's estimated about 2,500 villages being exposed and damaged in a high Atlas Mountains area. So why fell down and why? Well, there's a lot of this is a kind of a mixture of a construction that was made of it's a modern cement construction, the concrete unit you see, and the rocks. So when you start seeing a mixture like this, you're going to see a lot of failures. And so some area, like in this particular area, this village is completely gone. There's 2 reasons. One is that this has a very soft soil. That's one thing. And on top of that, there's a construction which is kind of semi-modern. It's not quite traditional built. Those 2 combination, soft soil and semi-modern, without following any seismic norm, it's a death. And this is too. So this is the area. It's actually traditionally built by using the round rocks. Those are really dangerous, actually. And this is the kind of semi-modern. This is built about 1980s or close to 1990s. This used to be 2-story building. It's a commercial buildings. And what we call soft story, it's essentially the pancake at the bottom, which you see things like this a lot in a commercial construction. And rebar itself, how that reinforcement is done, it's not really meet any kind of criteria at all. And that when you said this so-called semi-modern construction, this infill is made of this very thin, fragile concrete masonry unit you see on the left side. So those are so easy to crush. It doesn't quite work. And on the right side, you see what is the pillars, we call columns, and the beams made of. It just does not have enough reinforcement to sustain the earthquake motion there. Some of some are performing actually really well and then stood up. And why is that? You can see the distinct difference between this village versus the first village. You see this village sits on a rock. So if the villages, towns and structures sits on the rock, even the badly built per se, is actually perform much better than the one in the soil, subsoil. So it depends on where you at is a make huge differences. And it's traditionally built. So this is the kind of typical construction you see, which performed really well. This is the made of a rock. You can kind of see that, and it's actually the have this very what we call slates of flat rocks integrate together, and a very thick wall. Sometimes you see that somewhere between the 40 centimeters, even 50 centimeters. Those, because of the thickness, because of smaller window size, because of how the rocks are stuck together, it actually performed very well. It's a friction of it, you know. And it's very interesting. The order of the buildings would be actually performing better because those are traditional built, you know. That's what you can see here. Now, and you can see that this is a traditional built, what we call vernacular architecture, sits on the rock. Those are pretty much indestructible. It's a really great construction. What happened? It's not like the ancients had technology. What happened is that people living in the high Atlas mountain for tens of thousands of years, and earthquake does happen every 200 years, every 500 years, but that inhabitation long enough that there is an experience of the witness about what works and what doesn't work. So in a sense, the vernacular architecture evolved to be seismic resistive elements. That's why those ancient structures perform really well. And you can see here too. And some of the modern construction, which is on the right side, that's what we call confined masonry. If it's done right, which is that the beam columns made of the concrete and has the good infill elements on the inside with smaller rocks, flat rocks, and perform really well also. If you can imagine, if you build houses around rocks, right? It doesn't matter how big would it be, or thickness of what it is. If the earthquake motion happens, you can imagine how dangerous it is, right? Those round rocks will pop out, the whole thing's collapse. And some of the round earth, now this is made of clay, and we see many parts of the world actually round earth worked really well. But this particular case, this considered to be that the kind of a new introduction to the area. And if it's not done right, it doesn't do well neither. But there's a ways to actually make it right for this kind of structure and make it very safe, by the way. So you see that those are good built construction. So what is the next step should be? So we've been obviously on the site and working with the government and to see what need to be done. Now, I must say that the way the government respond to this earthquake is probably one of the best practice I haven't seen. It's very good, very good. That they provided tents, and also not only government did, but people, whole population of a whole country of the Morocco actually appeared to this mountain area and provided food, fuel, tents, clothes, all the things they need, medical. So it was definitely I know that the international aids was not allowed to be there, but I can see that. I can see that they don't need them because there's such a robust action from the population and the government. But right now, it's definitely the peculiar condition because there are estimated to be almost 50,000 houses affecting almost 300,000 people. They lost homes because either damaged or collapsed. So that need to be taken care of. And tents provided is the essentially the summer tents or spring tents. So it's not really good for the winter condition in high mountains. So one more thing is the government is looking at is they see that yes, vernacular architecture, if it's built right, it performs really well, very safe construction. So just stick to that. That's really makes sense, you know. But I think key here is the extract the knowledge from a master mason locally and be able to train the other masons who actually lost the know-how of the how to build correctly. And I think that's a really important part of the capacity building and also the knowledge transfer. But that's the come from everything local, right? And I think government did the right thing to actually prohibit to build any foreign materials, like bringing the steel or concrete or some weird transition shelters people like to build, because that doesn't make sense. It makes sense to actually spend money at the local, at the villages, train the masons, train the villagers, build back correct way, repair the correct way. That is so much better than spend money somewhere to bring it into these villages there. Not only it's harmful for the economy or recovery process, but also this area considered to be, it's a beautiful area, beautiful villages, beautiful architecture, and it's a big tourist area. So therefore, changing the architecture really doesn't make sense. I think it's really critical to keep this culture and the heritage. All that it's a beautiful, beautiful villages. So even that they're using the modern material for like a concrete, need to preserve the architecture from a past and the heritage. And this is the government's actual intention. It's beautiful buildings, perform really well if it's done right. So essentially, the next steps is to get into the temporary shelter conditions. And one of the options looking at temporary shelter is rather than bring in the foreign materials, just the repair some of the repairable fast, repair some of our houses which have been damaged, but can be repaired really quickly. So therefore, people can get back to that to season the winter. I think that's really the important aspect of it, and time really matters. So actually, we are selecting about 3 different villages to set up this system, have the from development of the technical documentation to training of master masons. But those technical documentation come from not from us, but from the knowledge of the master masons in the local level, and actually do execution of the programs on those pilot programs the fastest possible, like right now. So those are some of the documentation produced by in the past. Some very simple messages like this one, this example from different country by showing the something simple technique to be implemented. That's about it. I think it's definitely there's still a long way to go, and I think the people and the government has such a great job so far. But it's definitely this 2,500 villages has to be repaired as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Kit. This was really fascinating, and it's really interesting to see how we can repair the villages, bring back their original beauty, their heritage, but make them stronger to future disasters. So now we're going to hear a very different approach from the CEO of Social Infra Ventures. Daniel, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Olivia, for your kind introduction. And thank you all the members of the African Union of Housing Finance to invite me as be speaker today. I'm very sorry I cannot be in Namibia with you, as you see, but the earthquake that hit Morocco in the 8th of September has provoked a quick implementation of our projects in Morocco. And that's the reason why we cannot be with you today. My name is Daniel Font. I'm the Chief Executive Officer and founder of Social Infra Ventures. And I would like to present to share with you a presentation that is divided in two areas. One is to introduce you, Social Infra Ventures, and the second one is what we have called SISV, Housing Crisis Response for Morocco. First of all, Social Infra Ventures is a partnership between the senior management of SIV, of Mixed Africa, and Cardano Development. Cardano Development is a foundation based in the Netherlands and is an incubator of new initiatives and startups, but also a fund manager. Currently, they are managing 7 billion. And the senior management, the former senior management of Mixta Africa, I would say that is one of the most experienced team in developing affordable homes in Africa. They have delivered 13,000 affordable homes in 8 countries, from north to west, and from Morocco to Egypt, and from Senegal to Nigeria. And this is a team that is working with us. It's a mix between the former senior management of Mixta and some of our colleagues from Cardano. Social Infra Ventures is a affordable housing platform with very innovative solutions. We have introduced gender and climate in our operations. And I would say that everything goes around what we call 15-minute city concept. SIV plans to develop affordable homes in secondary cities in Morocco and implementing what we call the 15-minute city concept. That basically, this concept is trying to develop communities where by 15 minutes walking or by 15 minutes cycling, you can have access to all the social facilities as schools, nursery, clinics, and even jobs for people. We are implementing what we call the certified housing. We have implemented age certification in our projects, but we are not just implementing level 1, but level 2, what we call advanced. And we are also planning to develop Building Resilient Index, also developed by the IFC, and we want to be rated AA+. What means to be rated in resilience AA+ is that we are not just saving lives, but also we are saving the assets. That's a very important concept when you are doing affordable homes, because people cannot lose their lives, but cannot also lose their assets. We are targeting low to middle income families. The King of Morocco has just announced that a new social scheme is going to be enforced in 2024. Then SIV is planning to develop social housing schemes in secondary cities in Morocco. And as we said, we have introduced also gender responses, and by providing safety, access to opportunity, mobility, and employment for women and girls in our projects. This is the platform. SIV DevCo develops homes for sale, and SIV RentCo is managing the homes that we consider that has to be rented. Pure rent is not rent to own, but it's a pure rent platform. That is our Pan-African footprint and expansion. We are starting in Morocco with an opportunistic approach in Egypt, and in a second phase, 3 years after implementing our first project in Morocco, we'll be starting activities in Senegal and Ivory Coast, and in more long-term phase 3, Tunisia, Nigeria, and Ethiopia. This is SIV, and in September, due to the earthquake, we changed completely our strategy and implementation in Morocco. And why? The earthquake has hit the region of Marrakesh, and as a quick response from the government, they have created camps in Amimi's community, that is where I think there are living today 3,000 people in tents. Is a camp, and you have to understand that up to 3,000 people die during the earthquake. 5,600 were injured, and many buildings and villages were completely destroyed. Just after the earthquake happened, our partners in Morocco asked us to go to Morocco. We were there 3 days after the earthquake, and they asked us to shift our implementation from north to south, and to shift and started our projects in the south of Morocco, in the region affected. And why? Because what is happening today is the migration of people from rural areas to cities, secondary cities and cities in Morocco. Today, this earthquake has accelerated this migration. This is something that is naturally happening today, this migration from rural areas to cities. But today, what has happened is that this is being accelerated. Winter is coming, and this situation is going to be accelerated during this winter. Then our partners in Morocco, one of the largest banks in Morocco, Attijari Wafa Bank, but also the Ministry of Housing and Ministry of Environmental, requested us to accelerate the implementation of our projects in the south. What we have done during the last 1 month and a half is that we have selected lands to develop our projects. We are starting our first project in November this year. It's 350 homes, 6.5 million euros of investment. 280 units will be developed for selling and 70 developed for renting. And we have shifted completely our business plan, our 10 years business plan, and we are starting all our activities in this region to as a midterm housing crisis response due to this migration. And we need to give shelter, to give a home to these families that have lost everything. But who is going to implement this? We have a team in Morocco. We've been working with this team since 2008. Just in Morocco, this team has developed 5,300 units and affordable homes, in the north to the south of Morocco. 90% of them were affordable homes, but we also have developed clinics, schools, student accommodation, retail, etc. in this country. Then our team is already ready to develop and to implement our first project in that region. But what is the impact of SIV in the 10 years business plan? We want to develop 22,000 centrally located green and climate resilient affordable housing units. We'll be housing at the end up to 100,000 people. We'll be reducing the impact of carbon, of CO2, of 3,800 tons per year. We'll be creating almost 200,000 jobs. And of course, all our projects will include social infrastructure with a stakeholder analysis to understand what is the need of social infrastructure as schools, nursery, etc. Then that's basically what we wanted to show you, and what is the plan of SIV for Morocco, and that we will be the first company developing this social housing scheme just that the King of Morocco has announced last week. That will be the first company developing age certification and building resilient index in Morocco, and that's the kind of solution that with our local partners and our team in Morocco we are presenting as a solution in the midterm for this housing crisis in Morocco that has been accelerated due to the earthquake. Well, that's SIV. You will hear from us during these coming weeks. Thank you for listening this presentation. Thank you, as I said, the members and the people that is present in this event in Abibia. Thank you, Olivia. Thank you, Ketia and Tandiwe, for inviting me. And hopefully you can help us in Morocco, and some of the people that is present today can help us providing homes and affordable homes in Morocco in the next years. Thank you very much.